What's up YouTube, Ultimate here, and today's going to be my trainer tips video for capturing Zapdos, one of the 3 legendary birds, and this guy moves around a lot. I'm going to be giving you all the information on him so you can finally get your own electric chicken. So, yeah, let's get started. Tip number 1. Do not use the Nanabberry Golden Raspberry trick. That is not true, that has never been true, and that doesn't make sense. The only thing that the Nanabberry / Golden Raspberry trick does is it does keep it in place, and that allows you to get a better throw for your next 2 balls. And then the Nanab runs out, and you're pretty much screwed. So you're basically wasting an entire ball with a very, very, very much slimmer chance of catching it than if you use the Golden Raspberry. So for anyone who's thinking, oh, it has a lasting effect, yes, we already know by the game's code that it does have a lasting effect, but we do not know is that if it actually increases the capture rate, which if it did increase the capture rate, we would know by the game's code, because there's multiple people data mining. We already know that there were shinies in the game. We already know that there's supposedly a shiny Pikachu in the code, and if the Nanabberry actually did increase the capture rate of Pokemon, we would know that because of the game's code. So, like I've said before, do not use the Nanabberry trick. It does not work. If you caught it with the Nanabberry trick, you would have caught it with just a Golden Raspberry. The only thing that the Nanabberry does is it keeps it stationary, so it is easier to get a great or excellent throw. Now, if you're unable to actually get throws in period, then yes, use the Nanabberry. But don't think it's going to increase the capture rate of the Pokemon. So tip number 2. Find a Magnemite frequently spawn area or find a Magnemite nest. Magnemite has the exact same movement pattern as Zapdos. Same thing with Magneton over right here. I would strongly recommend going off and inversing these guys multiple times until you get used to Magnemite and Magneton's movement pattern, because it is exactly the same as Zapdos's. It's extremely, extremely easy to get used to. Once you've seen it for about like 5 to 20 times, you're pretty much essentially adjusted to it and you're able to actually go and capture it. One thing I want to say is that once Zapdos goes off and essentially goes and does his movement pattern thing, he is in a state of rest for essentially, I want to say, 0.5 seconds to a second. So you should already have your curveball already going on, and the second he gets in the center, throw it, and hopefully you'll get him in between the rest time frame, and that way he won't be able to attack, and his movement won't be able to basically be bouncing around on the screen. That is one way of getting a nice throw or a great throw, is probably the best information you can get, because that's essentially what you're aiming for. There's really no magical trick. It's really just comes down to RNG. You have a 1.7 multiplier for curveball. You have a 1.25 multiplier for nice throw. 1.5 multiplier for great throw. 1.85 for excellent. And we don't know what Golden Raz does for the multiplier, but everyone seems to think either 1.5 or 1.75 or 2.0. Either way, it's very important that you basically use everything to your advantage. Practicing on these guys right here will definitely aid you in your quest of getting Zapdos. So, yeah. this was my tips video on how to capture Zapdos. I know a lot of people are still going to have problems with this. Really, it comes down to RNG, guys. You're never going to capture it every single time. It takes a few tries. Hopefully, you'll get really lucky. But for Zapdos, you actually have a rest phase, which is really, really good. I've gone through all my video footage that I've done. I've talked to a few of my friends, and they all say the same thing, that the second it stops the movement, there's a solid second in between it doing anything. So that is pretty much the best thing possible. It's better than waiting for an attack to happen and then throwing a ball, because that's like a 0.2 delay. Sometimes I've seen it feel like it's almost instantaneously double attacks. So for Zapdos, it's actually pretty much either 0.5 or a solid second afterwards. A second doesn't seem like that much of time, but if you already have the curveball queued up and you see him going towards the center, you launch it. It's much easier to do that than going off and doing it in between attacks. So that's what I would recommend doing. If this video helped you out, please make sure to like it, subscribe, and share it. All the support is more than welcomed. And yeah, thanks for watching.